and let's look at their net favorable ratings. Whoa. Woof. I mean, my God, you know, we mentioned CNN. We had that poll come out a little while ago on their net favorable rating. They were 26 points underwater. You think that's low enough? How about we go even lower? We'll go to this side of the screen. I'm going to walk over here. We go to the Wall Street Journal, minus 30 points underwater. Their lowest on record. These polls have records going all the way back since the early 1990s. And when it comes to the Democratic Party's net favorable rating in both the Wall Street Journal poll and the CNN poll, the Democratic Party is breaking records in the way, Jessica Dean, you don't want to break records.
If you've been following the news, of course, the narrative over the last couple of weeks has been Donald Trump's falling poll numbers. However, there is one group that is doing much worse than him, and that, of course, is Democrats. They have shown no signs of recovering since their huge loss in the 2024 election. And that's exactly what he pointed out here today from several different venues. Before we get to these clips, don't forget to like and comment on this video so we can break through the algorithms. Here we go.
We are 7 months into 2025. We're 9 months since Democrats lost across the board in the 2024 election. And yet there's new polling that suggests the Democratic brand is in worse shape with voters than it has ever been in the history of modern polling. Yes, you heard that right. All right. I can hear some of you saying, yeah, well, Donald Trump's unpopular too. And you're right. In that poll, Donald Trump was underwater. 46% approval, 52% disapproval. The problem is that people don't like Trump, but they like Democrats even less. What I would say to you Democrats is that if you just dismiss all this, like, wow, Trump's bad, you are missing the boat. People do not trust or like you, and that's a problem. I want to read you a quote. This is from John Anzalone. So Anzo did polling for Biden and Obama. He is one half of the Republican Democratic duo who does the Wall Street Journal's poll. This is what he said about those poll numbers. Quote, the Democratic brand is so bad that they don't have the credibility to be a critic of Trump or the Republican Party. Until they reconnect with real voters and working people on who they're for and what their economic message is, they're going to have problems. Elections are two options, right? And if the other option, meaning Democrats, is seen as not really an option by the public, that's a giant problem. People have no idea really what the Democratic Party stands for, and to the extent that they think they know, they don't like it, right? So it's weak, it's woke, and it's anti-Trump. That's what people will say about the Democratic Party. That is not getting it done.
So that's former CNN contributor Chris Cillizza, and he's making a couple of observations that we've been talking about on this channel for quite some time. First of all, it's that the Democrat Party is completely different, all right? What people used to think about the Democrat Party, right? Your parents' Democrat Party, how they were for unions and workers and all of that stuff, that's not what they stand for anymore. They have been completely taken over by the radical left. And guess what? All those policies that they hold now, the American people don't like it. And that, of course, is why the brand of the Democrats has been damaged so much, because what we saw in the last election cycle was the wokeness hitting its peak. All right. When you're talking about giving transition surgeries to criminal, illegal, alien inmates, then, of course, you have officially lost the plot. There was no positive economic message, and they had no ideas how to fix the floundering economy under Joe Biden. And so, of course, people turned their backs on them because it was completely ridiculous. And as Chris Cillizza says, yes, as bad as you think Donald Trump's polling is, Democrats are even less liked. And if you even believe the polling that's being put out about Donald Trump, he's in the mid to high 40s, which honestly is not that bad when you have all of mainstream and leftist media centered against you and saying that, hey, every single thing this guy does is going to ruin your life. So what we have to do at this point is kind of sit back and wait for all of the good news to roll in, which, by the way, has already started. We got some really good GDP numbers that have surprised, once again, the economists. And of course, we had inflation come in lower than expected. So yes, Trump is going to be on a roll. And when people start to see these things with their own eyes and in their own pocketbooks, then his numbers are going to turn around even faster. But of course, the point is that the Democrats have nothing going on for them. And of course, who's the leaders of the Democrats? What do they stand for? And the answer is the same old, possibly even Kamala Harris.
Marco Rubio was on Lara Trump's program, and she asked him about whether he might run in 2028 for president, and he went directly to basically saying, J.D. Vance is awesome. I hope J.D. Vance runs. That was interesting. CNN has a story over the weekend about Kamala Harris and whether she'll run for Senate or president or something else. It appears she continues to not have made up her mind. not surprisingly. And it also says she's canceled her August vacation.
Just quickly, I think Rubio didn't say no, but I just don't see him defeating Vance. But the question, I think, is, does the White House want a competition? So we'll just have to see. The second, I can't believe this, but somebody I know who knows Kamala Harris said she's thinking of running for president more, and I find that stunning. But, you know, everyone, if you want, go for it.
Real quick, I think that the Rubio thing is fascinating because I do think that there's an aspect of which it actually contrasts with the Kamala stuff. It says to me that he gets what the future looks like. Maybe he's positioning himself for a VP role, or he sort of likes, you know, he has a good relationship with JD and says, hey, maybe I can just stay on his side. I mean, there's a million things, but I think it's a big tell for him because there's a lot of people who thought that he might be the one of the other alternative candidates. On the Kamala thing, I got just on a pure, again, why this contrast, I could make a ton of jokes about how ridiculous this is, but I do think that her indecision, lack of planning, etc., just underscore how bad of a candidate she is. Like, if you wanted to do one or the other, you'd be setting up stuff, you'd be doing, I mean, like, this to me just underscores how bad she is. And so I really don't care what she runs for, but if I were a Democrat, she is to me so unformidable that's the bigger story, is that how pathetic it is after what she's done that no one cares.
So I couldn't ask for a bigger gift than Kamala Harris running for president a second time. I mean, can you just imagine the failure that would be present? Because when she first announced, everyone was like, oh, yes, finally, someone other than Joe Biden running for president, right? That's the Democrats being really excited. And then, of course, once it all settled into how wacky she was, how unprepared she was, then everyone was like, ugh, that's when the cringe started. Now, granted, she still got a whole lot of percentage votes, but she lost all of the battleground states. And of course, that must have been really humiliating because she couldn't even swing those states with Democrat governors like her own VP. I mean, this was truly amazing. So yes, it really does go to Sean Spicer's point that the Democrats really don't have a bench. They don't have a starting lineup. If they're still having Kamala Harris in play, they are basically without leadership. And that's something else that came out in a poll a little while ago, was the simple fact that many people actually thought that folks like Jasmine Crockett and AOC were the party leaders, right? The leftist socialist upstarts, the ones that have no chance of winning in middle America. So please, Democrats, keep making the same mistakes because whatever you're doing ain't working, and I love it. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and say hi to your mom for me. Do you like t-shirts? Of course you do. And now you can support the channel by buying an Angry Teacher t-shirt designed by me, Angry Teacher. So if you like America, if you like freedom, if you like liberty, then go ahead and click the link in the description where all designs, of course, are 100% mother approved. So enjoy yourself and find something you like today.